My mother said, "You owe me your house, I raised you." I breathed in and said, "Let's put that in writing." She didn't expect me to mean it. At 29, I was a man working as an operations compliance manager in Sacramento, California. Gordon Shaw was my father, 46, and he'd held the final word for years. The stake was our warehouse lease renewal and a $575,000 equipment credit line tied to my signature. He planned to strip my equity and blame me for it, and I chose myself. I liked early mornings in Midtown, before traffic. I usually parked near our street and walked 1.4 miles. It cleared my head before the shop opened. Our family business was a fictional company called Monarch Tool and Supply. We fabricated metal fittings for contractors and small manufacturers. Nothing glamorous, but it kept people employed. I handled compliance, safety logs, and vendor requirements. That meant I lived in details other people skipped. I carried a red metal clipboard everywhere. The clip squeaked if you pressed it wrong. I also carried a handheld label maker in my work bag. I labeled bins, drawers, and file folders. Order made problems visible. My father hated that. He liked things loose enough to adjust later. My older sister, Brielle, adored him. She ran sales and acted like the face of everything. She wore crisp blazers and never got dust on her shoes. When clients toured the shop off Fruitridge Road, she smiled. When the welders stayed late, she wasn't there. That dynamic stayed stable until money got large. The big opportunity arrived in an email on a slow afternoon. I was sitting at a corner table in a fictional cafe near Land Park, Juniper and Anchor Cafe. My sandwich and iced tea cost $18.20. A recruiter offered me a role in Madison, Wisconsin, director of compliance operations at a company called Northbeam Components. The salary was $141,800. They offered $20,000 for relocation. They also offered stock units that vested over time. I stared at the screen until my eyes blurred. It felt like a door opening. It also felt like my family noticing the draft. That night, we had dinner at my parents' place in East Sacramento. The table was set like a magazine photo. My mother poured water and kept her smile pinned. Gordon poured wine for himself and Brielle. He didn't pour me any, he never did. Brielle asked about my day, but her eyes didn't care. I mentioned Madison casually. Gordon scoffed. "That's a sideways move," he said. "It's a leadership role," I said. "It's a rulebook job," he said. Brielle laughed, quick and sharp. "He's built for checklists," she said. "He'd audit a birthday party." That insult wasn't clever, it was familiar. They had a way of making my work sound small. Then my mother dropped her demand like it was normal. "You owe me your house," she said. "It should be family property." I set my fork down. The food tasted like cardboard suddenly. "I'll consider anything in writing," I said. My mother's smile faltered. Gordon's eyes narrowed, amused. "You hear that?" he said. "He wants paper." I didn't argue further. I watched how quickly they pivoted. They didn't ask why I wanted it in writing. They acted like it was stubbornness. On the drive home, I replayed every word. The phrase that stuck was family property. Not family safety, not fair, property. The next morning, I reached the shop before 7. I walked the floor with my red clipboard. I checked the safety station near the loading dock. I counted 9 new pallets of raw stock. I labeled a bin for fasteners with my label maker. Small habits calmed me. My phone buzzed with a notification from our HR system. I had admin access for compliance audits. The alert was not meant for me. It popped up anyway. HR ticket 74,208, update access and reporting line. I frowned. That ticket number shouldn't involve me. I opened it. The requester was Gordon. The summary read, "Remove Derek from approvals. Route to Brielle." My stomach dropped. The notes included a second line. "Prepare termination path if he resists." I stared at the screen. My red clipboard felt heavy in my hand. I didn't slam anything. I took a photo of the ticket on my phone, then I saved it to a folder labeled Work. I used my label maker to tag a new manila folder in my desk. Not confidential, not anything dramatic, Just Q for questions I couldn't ignore. 2 hours later, Brielle walked onto the floor in clean shoes. She didn't look at the welders. She came straight to my desk. "We need you in the office," she said. "What for?" I asked. "Dad's meeting a landlord broker," she said. "He wants unity." Unity was another leash word. I followed her into the conference room. The room overlooked Stockton Boulevard. Gordon sat at the head of the table. A broker named Alan Reed sat beside him. Alan had a leather portfolio and a practiced voice. He slid a proposal across the table. A new warehouse, larger and shinier. A 5-year lease with an option to renew. The personal guarantor line had my name on it. I hadn't agreed to that. Gordon spoke like it was already done. "This is the next chapter," he said. "You'll sign today," he said. I didn't touch the paper. "I need time," I said. Brielle scoffed. "Here we go," she said. Gordon leaned forward. "Don't embarrass us," he said. Alan smiled tightly. "I can step out," Alan said. Gordon waved him off. "No," he said. "Let him learn," he said. Brielle looked at me like I was a slow student. "He doesn't get business," she said. "He just files things." I kept my tone even. "I'm not guaranteeing a lease I didn't approve," I said. Gordon's mouth twitched. "You'll do what's needed," he said. That was when I understood the plan. They wanted a new lease with my risk attached. They also wanted me removed from approvals. They wanted to take my stake, then blame me for fallout. It wasn't just rude, it was coordinated. After the meeting, I didn't storm out. I walked back to my desk. I checked the HR system again. A second alert had appeared. HR ticket 74,511. Change org chart and title. My title was being downgraded to safety support. Brielle's title was being upgraded to chief operating officer. I took another photo. I added it to my folder. Then I made a list on my red clipboard. Not dramatic. Practical. Accounts, approvals, contracts, payroll, creditors. If they were planning to weaponize blame, I needed facts. That afternoon, I drove 3.2 miles to a small bank branch near Arden Arcade. We held our operating accounts there. I asked for a meeting with the business banker. Her name was Sheila Tran. I brought my red clipboard and my label maker. Sheila offered coffee. I declined. I asked one question. "Who can move money without my approval?" I said. She pulled the signature card. My name was listed as a required co-signer for transfers above a certain threshold. That threshold was $25,000. I felt relief, then concern. They weren't trying to move small amounts. They were trying to move control. I asked Sheila about our credit line covenants. She explained them in plain language. Disputes in governance could trigger a pause, not punishment. A pause. That word became my anchor. I didn't ask her to do anything illegal. I didn't ask her to hide money. I asked her what the bank required to protect itself and workers. She told me. Documentation, clarity, and authority. That night I called an attorney. His name was Martin Delgado, Business Governance and Employment Compliance. His retainer was $4,600. It hurt, but it was cheaper than being framed. I met Martin the next day at his office near J Street. I brought my red clipboard. I brought the folder I labeled Q. I also brought a printed screenshot of HR ticket 74,208. Martin read quietly, then he looked up. "They're building a record," he said. "They want you to look insubordinate," he said. I nodded. "That's exactly it," I said. Martin asked if there was an operating agreement. I told him yes. It required member votes for equity changes. It also required notice for termination. Martin made a plan in 4 steps. 1. Preserve records. 2. Trigger an independent review. 3. Notify the bank of a governance dispute. 4. Prevent any owner distributions until payroll and creditors were protected. He said it without drama. It sounded like safety, not revenge. Back at the shop, I changed my routine quietly. I started documenting in the HR system itself. I opened a compliance case. HR ticket 74,890, policy conflict, approval chain dispute. I wrote a short factual note. No accusations, just facts and dates. I attached the screenshots. I also used my label maker to tag a flash folder on my laptop. Again, not for secrecy. For order. Brielle noticed my calm and hated it. She came to my desk after lunch. "Dad says stop making problems," she said. "I'm preventing one," I said. She leaned closer. "You always act like a martyr," she said. That insult was different and it still missed. I stayed quiet. She walked away, annoyed. 2 days later, the betrayal sharpened. Gordon emailed a vendor asking them to reroute invoices. He wanted invoices sent only to Brielle. The vendor forwarded the email to me by mistake. I recognized the implication fast. Invoices control narrative. If Brielle controlled invoices, she controlled truth. I printed that email and placed it in folder Q. Then I labeled a divider vendors with my label maker. I was building a map they couldn't erase. The showdown came at a Monday morning staff huddle, not labeled as a showdown, just presented that way. Gordon gathered supervisors near the shipping station. The forklift beeped in the background. He pointed at me with a grin. "Brielle will run operations now," he said. "Derek will assist." Assist. That word was another way to shrink me. One supervisor, Carla, looked confused. Carla managed scheduling and payroll inputs. Carla knew how much I actually did. Gordon continued. "And we're moving locations," he said. "We'll sign today." I stepped forward, one sentence calm. "We cannot sign without member approval," I said. Gordon's face tightened. Brielle laughed. "He's doing the rule thing again," she said. Gordon spoke louder. "Sign or step aside," he said. Carla's eyes widened. Workers looked at each other. They didn't need the family drama, they needed paychecks. I kept my voice low and steady. "I won't be forced," I said. "I also won't let payroll get risky," I said. Gordon sneered. "You don't get to play hero," he said. That insult was new and it revealed his fear. He didn't want heroes. He wanted obedient signatures. That afternoon, Martin sent his first letter. It went to Gordon and Brielle. It stated that equity and authority changes were disputed. It demanded preservation of records. It requested an independent workplace investigation. Not police, not theatrics, a formal inquiry. It also informed them that any retaliation would be documented. At the same time, Martin sent a notice to the bank. He did not accuse anyone of crimes. He simply stated there was a governance dispute affecting approvals. That was enough. The bank scheduled a call. They requested updated financials. They also paused discretionary draws on the equipment line. The pause happened quietly. No one posted about it. No one needed to. It just changed what Gordon could do. To protect workers and creditors, Martin advised an additional step. We activated the bank's cash management controls. Sheila helped set up a payroll-only account. Funds could move into payroll but not out to owners. It wasn't hiding money. It was creating a safe lane for obligations. I also created a vendor payment schedule approved by the bank. Carla was relieved when she heard it. "Payroll is safe," she said. "Yes," I said. "Payroll stays safe," I said. Brielle took it as betrayal. She cornered me in the parking area behind the shop. It was 0.2 miles from where the trucks lined up. She pointed at my tote bag. "You brought your little clipboard," she said. "It's my job," I said. She hissed quiet. "You're sabotaging Dad," she said. "I'm protecting the company," I said. She shook her head. "You're always the fun killer," she said. There it was again. My role in their story, not responsible, just annoying. The signature scene happened the next week. An HR investigation interview led by an outside consultant. Her name was Denise Parker. Denise met us in a neutral office suite near the Capitol. The room rate was $95 per hour billed to the company. Denise asked for the HR ticket trail. That was the funny part. They tried to erase me through HR tickets. The same tickets became the evidence. Denise read them out loud. HR ticket 74,208. HR ticket 74,511. HR ticket 74,890. She asked Gordon why he initiated removal of approvals without a vote. Gordon tried to joke. "He's dramatic," he said. Denise didn't laugh. Brielle tried to paint me as difficult. "He's stubborn," she said. Denise nodded politely. Then she asked for documentation showing cause for termination. There wasn't any. Because the cause was invented. Denise asked for emails about the new lease. Gordon's face grew tight. Denise asked why my name was placed as guarantor. Gordon's voice changed. He's family, he said. Denise looked at him steadily. Family is not a control mechanism, she said. That sentence landed, not because it was rude, because it was plain. After the interview, Denise issued preliminary findings. She recommended a compliance pause on governance changes. She recommended that the bank be updated. She also recommended that payroll and vendor payments remain protected. Gordon realized he wasn't just dealing with me. He was dealing with systems that didn't care about his favoritism. That was the payoff moment. Gordon called me into his office the next day. His office smelled like aftershave and old paper. Brielle stood behind his chair like a bodyguard. Gordon spoke softly like that meant kindness. "You've made your point," he said. "Drop the bank stuff," he said. "I won't," I said. Brielle snapped. "You're ruining everything," she said. I stayed calm. "The company needs clean governance," I said. "The bank requires it," I said. Gordon leaned back. "You think you're smarter than us," he said. I shook my head. "I think you're willing to blame me," I said. Silence filled the room. Gordon finally said the truth out loud. "You were never meant to own much," he said. Brielle nodded like she'd rehearsed it. "There it is," I said. That was the quiet confession I'd needed, not overheard, delivered. I stood up with my red clipboard in hand. I spoke clearly. "I'm resigning from day-to-day operations," I said. "I'm not resigning my stake," I said. Brielle laughed, sharp. "You'll get nothing," she said. Martin's letter answered that better than I could. 2 weeks later, Northbeam Components asked me for a start date. They wanted me in Madison sooner than planned. They increased my relocation to $24,000. They also added a $6,500 signing bonus. I didn't celebrate publicly. I booked a moving company. The estimate was $3,780. I used my label maker to tag boxes, kitchen, files, clothes, tools. I labeled my Q folder too. It went into my carry-on, not the truck. Gordon tried one last play before I left. He offered a buyout amount that insulted reality. It was small and meant to humiliate. I declined through Martin. No argument, no speeches, just a clean no. The consequences for my family spread quietly after that. The bank maintained the pause. They required governance documentation before reinstating flexibility. The landlord broker stopped returning calls. No lease gets signed when authority is disputed. Brielle lost her coup fantasy because it wasn't recognized outside our building. Denise completed her report. It stated that the attempted approval changes were improper. It also stated that retaliation risks were high. That report mattered to the bank. It also mattered to the company's insurer. Gordon had to accept a formal process, not because I begged, because systems demanded it. To protect workers, the bank insisted on an interim operating structure. Carla stayed on as payroll lead. A neutral operations consultant was hired for a limited term. My father hated that. But payroll stayed consistent. Vendors stayed paid. Creditors stayed calm. The company didn't collapse. My father's control did. In Madison, my new life started small and quiet. I rented a simple apartment near a bike path. Rent was $19.20. I walked 2 miles most evenings. The air felt different than Sacramento, sharper, cleaner. At Northbeam, I was respected from day one. I wasn't called assist. I wasn't a joke. I built a compliance dashboard that reduced late vendor approvals by 38%. My director praised me in a team meeting. I kept my red clipboard on my desk anyway. I used it to stay grounded. I also kept my label maker in a drawer. Old habits become anchors in new places. A year later, I got the final outcome in writing. Monarch Tool and Supply restructured its governance formally. My stake was recognized. No secret changes. No quiet stripping. Gordon and Brielle lost access to the new lease deal. The bank required broader oversight going forward. Gordon sent me a message that sounded tired. "I didn't handle it right," he said. I'm sorry I tried to push you out, he said. I replied politely and short. I accept the apology. Keep business contact through counsel, I said. Email subject. HR ticket 74208 completed. Approval chain updated 06/11/2025 invoice MT 9031. Compliance review consulting. Interim oversight 07/02/2025 email subject. Northbeam Components offer confirmation. Start date set 08/18/2025. What I learned is simple, even if it hurt. If someone needs you powerless, they are not safe. My boundary rule now is firm. No signatures under family pressure. If I could do it again, I'd ask for governance clarity much earlier. I still care about my parents, but care is not consent. Peace arrived when I stopped arguing and started documenting, and my future got lighter once I refused to be anyone's scapegoat.